Alright, here we go. This is a 1v1 ranked match on Simple between the green player and the left team, Polarbearz in the Steampunk Osprey with that gold medal around his, and a cardinal actually hiding behind his name tag there. And the blue player on the right side, MrN0Name in the standard Warthog. I've never actually seen this player before. I'm not sure if this might be a Smurf or not, but I don't really like accusing people or any random players of just smurfing, but just the fact that I've never seen this player before, and it is very, very similar to certain other names. It just is a little suspicious, although it might not be this person's fault at all that his name is just kind of uniquely similar to something else. And we do have MrN0Name taking the close power station first, using soldiers, but Polarbearz using creeps, so he is a little bit behind timing-wise, but obviously with that extra credits not being used. Oh, and MrN0Name dropping soldiers here. That is really not what you should do, because he was not able to clear this jackal yet. He really needed to delay just a little bit, and he even fails to clear the jackals here. So this power station, his forward power station, also does not get claimed. And right now he is dropping infantry in, but it's not going to be claiming anything, and we do see Polarbearz on the bottom coming with a front door longhorn drop, and MrN0Name will be able to hear this very, very quickly, so he is going to be able to come and react, but and MrN0Name, instead of reacting, realizing, hey, I'm a freaking Warthog, man, I have a lot higher DPS than you, so if I drop my front door at the same time, you're gonna be kind of screwed, man. And he does do that, but Polarbearz hits that other tank from the back, killing it very, very quickly. And and now they're actually fairly even. Polarbearz slightly ahead just because he had a little bit more time to get that attack in, and will be able to micro this tank around to get a little bit of extra damage. Drops it on the top, so it is able to be blocked. Or not blocked, but it is going to not be able to be blocked if it is on that higher elevation. And he's actually shooting up Polarbearz as well, pretty well, and he probably will get this kill if he lifts off, but he is not doing that right now, and he is just hitting that tank, and I guess kind of, but Polarbearz didn't actually set this to attack. It was going for that moneymaker for a quick second, and it is hitting MrN0Name right now. MrN0Name is able to finish off this tank, but he is not staying to finish off Polarbearz. He really needs to queue up a Seeker so he can finish off Polar, but Polar is getting all this free front door damage, and MrN0Name doing the exact same thing he was doing earlier once again, and going again for the front door here. This is a very, very interesting, unique play, and it is actually a very good idea now that I think, when you think about it, just because obviously he is a Warthog versus an Osprey, and he is getting a lot of front door damage, and this Hero Hog is extremely effective. MrN0Name forced to run away real quick now, but he is ahead now. He has taken a lot more damage away from Polarbearz than Polarbearz has been able to manage, and now he does have mid, and he is actually going for the neutral, so he is going now for the economical gain. And at this point, he has been able to take down a neutral. He was getting that experience just by killing those other neutrals, and right now he is pretty far ahead. MrN0Name is actually doing really stellar here, just getting quite a lot of experience, and Polarbearz with this artillery positioning isn't getting that far right now. He really need a critical mass here on Simple, and Polarbearz actually using MrN0Name's kills to grab some salvage, very low on life, and actually gets killed, so probably not going to get ahead in that, just because the respawn does cost, I forget exactly what it costs for an Osprey, but I know every single one at one point was 1,000. I don't know what it is exactly now, but they are pretty similar, pretty close, so I do not think he actually made up enough salvage to justify that death there, especially since now this is an outpost that is neutralized, and so, but it is very well fortified by Polarbearz. I will give him that, and MrN0Name doesn't even have any artillery in his loadout, so he won't be able to fight, the typical way here on Simple, and Polarbearz bringing more infantry. It will be able to take this back. I don't think MrN0Name is gonna, he will not be able to contest this quick enough. And there is a Seeker down. MrN0Name is getting smashed in the face by the Seeker. He does kill it though, but Polarbearz almost able to kill him before he gets back to his middle outpost, but not quite enough. And Polarbearz obviously gonna be able to get the salvage. So that is a big benefit having that Osprey in this 1v1. Not just because it is so effective against the, not against, but for heavy units healing them, but also you get that salvage to be able to get as much as you can from anything that's killed close to your area, close to wherever you have control. And right now, MrN0Name using the top lane to push with these Longhorn, quite a lot of Longhorn, 2 Patras in support. And Polarbearz has decided to reposition his artillery, but with this recent fix, with this recent behavior change with his artillery, it's not going to be quite as effective as it always used to be. And now, Polarbearz actually taking out MrN0Name there. MrN0Name, I think, was going for an infantry drop or a little bit of harass over there on that bottom power station. And now this will give Polarbearz enough time to reposition a lot of his units to shut this down. But the thing is, there are way too many tanks. Look at this. There's maybe like 9 to 10 tanks, and I think there was a Seeker in there somewhere, and MrN0Name with boomers. I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to get at here. Polarbearz is able to save that moneymaker, and there were a lot of tanks over here down at the bottom, but right now we do see Polarbearz trying to fend off this front door attack and using that as as an obvious distraction, and Polarbearz is forced to drop the Seeker. But yes, he is going to have to stay here for quite a long time if he wants to shut this down, and it does give MrN0Name a lot of time to clean up a lot of units over here that Polarbearz has. Now Polarbearz does decide that he has been able to sufficiently guard this such that his units will take care of it themselves, so he will come back to this mid/forward power station fight. And he has artillery facing 2 different directions. But now MrN0Name is cleaning. Wow, there were a lot of green units here before, and now not. So, but actually, Polarbearz bringing enough probes to retake this. So I do think, MrN0Name very low on life, but Polarbearz does not catch him in time. So he could have gotten that if he just shot a little bit earlier, because MrN0Name pretty much had like 5% of his life left, and Polarbearz forced to spam these probes. But right now is retaking his mid. And MrN0Name looks like, he is going to go for a front. No, he is just using this in support, so he will drop for a lot of attack here, and he is just going to kill a lot of these creeps just to take care of them for that experience. And Polarbearz bringing a tank of his own, using that Osprey, will be able to win this fight eventually. I do not think that MrN0Name is going to be able to put enough DPS on this tank to be able to save it. But actually, Polarbearz not healing it for the whole time, microing the Seeker in front so it can tank the majority of the damage now, and MrN0Name forced to run away, but his Seeker was actually, not his Seeker, his Longhorn was very, very healthy still, and he was able to retreat it away, and now going for the bottom lane push. I don't know. Okay, no, he has stopped that. Or is he going to keep going? No, he's just positioning him down there, but he almost has lost this middle. It only has 1 bulb up left, and Polarbearz stationing even more. But he has it level 6, and he is going to go for the Berthas. Polarbearz with Berthas and Goliaths in his loadout, and now MrN0Name going with Jackals, I guess going for either the harass or for the neutralize, but does set them on T, and it does force them to go to this outpost, because dropping them here was closer, this outpost, than that factory. But a lot of them are going down over here. He does drop boomers as well, and those probably will explode. I do not think that, and it is getting, this outpost is neutralized. A lot of tanks are coming up here, and MrN0Name almost getting killed on the way back there, but does not, has a single boomer. 1 boomer, not really that common to see 1 single boomer, but he is bringing it over here. Almost gets killed again, but Polarbearz bringing some infantry over here was not able to be here to finish him off. And now Polarbearz is retreating his units, and there are some random Longhorn coming for the front door that probably will be shut down by these other 2 Longhorn. But Polarbearz just has, that is just another thing to worry about. And now MrN0Name has been able to take this forward power station away from Polarbearz, and now Polarbearz is really, really on the ropes. MrN0Name has a humongous economy advantage with these extra outposts, and it just producing tank after tank after tank, after Jackal, after Patcher, and etc., building up his army way bigger. It is pretty even on upkeep right now, but the problem is MrN0Name really has the map advantage, and he doesn't really have to, obviously in a super duper linear map, he has 0 outpost defense and even 0 fort defense, and that is, that is one of the obvious problems with Simple, is that it's so linear that it's even way, it's like significantly more linear than any of the other maps that are also considered linear, such as Duel or Nesthorn, that you can't, it's pretty much a 1 outpost to 1 outpost fight, especially in the higher level play, once you have extremely good map awareness and you will not let anything by. There is pretty much no leapfrogging of, not necessarily leapfrogging, but no skipping outposts, and this is going to be a losing push by MrN0Name, but it depends on what you call losing at this point. He has been able to put a lot of pressure on this outpost, neutralizes it, and even though he will probably be the one that loses all of his units versus Polarbearz, he is gaining, and he actually is able to take this. Wow. I don't think it'll stay blue for very long unless MrN0Name continually spams infantry, which he only has boomers coming out right now. It does go back down to neutral, and Polarbearz is going to be able to retake this, but I don't think he will have the advantage at all, and Mr. No Name dropping boomers on the other side of the outpost, gonna get a lot of splash damage everywhere. And even though they went for the tanks, there are there were 3 bulbs that were knocked down, and now the last one has been down. Polarbearz with 3 bulbs up, but there are random blue creeps leaking in from the top, and so that will not be able to, that will not allow Polarbearz to take this. And Mr. No Name doing a really good job keeping the pressure on, not stopping at this forward. He's not just at this close actually. Right now there is a small lull. Halftime is kicking in, so Mr. No Name is getting a little bit of credits. Oh no, actually because of that credits, because of all that front door attack right at the beginning of the match, they haven't been able to neither of these players are going to be able to get any bonus credits. But now Mr. No Name has forced Polarbearz back, and now Polarbearz with a Goliath out on the field, but I don't think it's going to be enough. At this point, Mr. No Name is also level 7, also queuing up Goliaths, and he will use this opportunity right now to prevent any potential cheese, not necessarily cheese, but potential ninja drops and ninja captures, just by using these bunkered infantry. And now Polarbearz has no way to get a quick capture on the further back outpost, so he is pretty much gonna also have to do the obvious simple map, one outpost at a time fight. And now Mr. No Name just stacking the moneymakers, and Polarbearz is just dropping further and further behind at this point, and he is going to go out with the Goliaths already, and he is going to be forced to go with an attack push, or actually this might be a T-push because he does have this outpost in control. And there are quite a lot of Goliaths, there are a lot of Seekers in support. These Longhorns are going to come out. He is going to go with an all-in push, and I do think this will do a lot of damage onto Mr. No Name, but it's just where, I mean, how far is it going to get him though? He will lose the majority of these Goliaths probably, unless he is just going straight to just demolish as much as possible against Mr. No Name. He is quite significantly ahead in the upkeep count, but Mr. No Name starting push of his own, much closer to Polarbearz's fort than Polarbearz is to Mr. No Name. So if this is a straight 1-to-1 push, then Mr. No Name will definitely get this with his units way closer than Polarbearz, and Polarbearz is still down on the fort health, whereas Mr. No Name has pretty much recovered all of his health, almost all of his health, from those initial attacks. And now Mr. No Name pushing up on the front door. There is pretty much no way that Polarbearz can defend against this. He probably should have brought back at least one of those Longhorn that were going for Mr. No Name's fort, but at this point Mr. No Name has too many blue units on the front door and on the sides, and this does go to Polarbearz in defeat, and Mr. No Name will take this 1v1 ranked match on simple. Very, very little kills, 1 and 1 each, but if you look at the units lost, Mr. No Name lost way more, and that was because he was able to afford way more, and that was pretty much his aggressive style pretty much won him this game. If you have a great replay to send in, even if you spectated, I am going to be taking spectated matches now. Send them in, ruy0x@gmail.com. Please look at my video description for links to my forum post with instructions, or, you know what, just send it to me. Just send it to me. Also, do check out my other links. There, Knomo has a new AirMech blog up called AirMech Fighters. It is in English, and he will be coming out with a Mana 3 very soon, so be sure to check that out as well. And Liquid Snake / Solid Snake has posted a lot of the casual tier matches on his channel. It is, I believe, Solid Snake 3133. But if you do look at my channel description, I do have his channel on the right side there. Just give it a click, and I will include it in this video description as well. So be sure to check out those sites and and the Ouya casual tournament matches. This is RUI, and that is game. See you next time.